This will be one of the most profound, simple, common sense explanations of what we call correctly a no crime utopia. The bottom line is everyone becomes their own decision making, problem solver, peacemaker. And that's what the entire system does.
This is a show where we will be discussing possibilities in different categories of education, military, housing, business, and so much more. That's just to name a few, a small few. We will be hearing from Mr. Keith Brent Duncan, also known as the Globe-Trotting Technology Evangelist. And before we go any further, and is free to do so and helps us grow and get information out to you, please like and subscribe to our channel and be sure to ring that bell. Okay, before we get started chatting with our guest, I would like to take a moment to tell you a little bit about him. Mr. Keith Brent Duncan, also known as Atlanta Keith, Dr. Knows, and that's spelled Knows, and Dr. Keith is on a mission to redistribute God's wealth and authority back to the greatest places of moral need. He has a degree in computer science, electrical engineering. He is a registered pastor of Universal Life Church. He is also one of the world's greatest theologians and philosophers because he not only teaches, he practices biblical principles. So welcome, Keith Brent Duncan, also known as the Globe-Trotting Technology Evangelist. How are you today?
Well, thank you so much, Karen, for hosting this. This will be one of the most profound, simple, common sense explanations of what we call correctly a no crime utopia that has a name, unocracy.org. So thank you so much for sponsoring it. And of course, everyone, please invite all your friends to rewatch this video and to support newroadsvideo.com.
Oh, thank you. So we'll start our interview out with off with asking you to tell us a little bit about you as a person, and how long have you been at this, and why are you doing this?
Well, I'm 65 years old, grew up in High Point, North Carolina, went to school at NC State University, and immediately at age 18, and particularly when we moved to Atlanta in 1982, our entire lifetime focus has been working with God to procreate technology to literally stabilize the world. And the bottom line is everyone becomes their own decision-making, problem solver, peacemaker. And that's what the entire system does. It teaches the people to resolve issues internally, family, community, business. And that way it'll be the biggest reversal, revolution, and we even use the word revival of every community being self-independent.
Okay, awesome. So tell us also a little bit about your journey in reaching people and business owners and in how you help them.
Well, yes, our jobs were mostly consulting for the largest companies in America in the telecommunications, banking, and stock market industries. So we understand how to create perfect, small replacement systems that are unhackable, that have a long lifespan. And then we also include psychology and philosophy, which is all about human relations. How do people actually treat each other? Do they trust each other? Are they confident in dealing with whatever local issues are? And do people really understand why we were procreated in the first place, our original general purpose of life, And what are we going to leave behind as a legacy when we die? We are all born as mortals. So the entire system, that's what our whole focus has been our entire life, has been working with God on behalf of we, the people.
Okay, all right. That's very interesting. And what would you like to share about your future dreams and endeavors? What are you doing these days? I know you've got a lot going on.
Well,
Would you mind sharing that with our
we're
viewers?
asking to be back on national news because we literally have resurrected every possible solution to address every single major world problem. And the current reality, when people see what's really happening, we have major wars, mass poverty, the word political corruptions. People don't even like to go to church because they just don't get what they need when they go to church. And the churches happen to be called a sanctuary. It's a safe haven place to go to listen to the word of God, but really to practice biblical, moral, family value principles. And those are the words that people aren't talking about, which is ethics, trust. Um, we've got a whole world of people that have self-isolated for various reasons, and then they just get in this, we call it the rat race, like you're on a hamster on a wheel, and they just go circle, circle. And when things get bad, then they resort to doing stupid things, which we all know what that list is, that they're called vices, sins, and crimes. And that's why the oligarchs, they have lots of names. Most people have been calling them New World Order. One world government and one world religion are exactly the opposite of what we're showing as a perfected no crime utopia. And the perfect word is unocracy.org. And it's a very simple definition. It's the will of the people decide the next project. That's called direct funding, no more taxes. And if
Hmm.
we as a community decide to build a new civic center, a new community church, a new free hospital,
Mhm.
state-of-the-art schools, we don't like the police chief, we don't like the homeless problem or the drug problem, then that group of people is now morally responsible to go solve that issue using their own assets. And remember, the assets is also your time. So we've also addressed dramatically this issue about privacy. If you think about most of the people that are super wealthy and no one likes them, they're called evil. They will always screen privacy.
Mm.
No one can see what they're doing. And that's the problem with the secret deals, the secret trades. And that's what's ended up being offshore banking, Bitcoins, counterfeiting. And the number one crime in the entire world has been cybercrime, the ability to go into a database, pull out the information and resell it hundreds, if not thousands of times. That's about a $50 trillion a year drain out of the people's economy. And we have the original solution. Everything we're speaking about goes back to 1976. So that's the basic overview of what we're about to discuss.
And that's a lot right there. In our brief conversations before the show, you mentioned many categories to the many solutions that you have, including education,
Correct.
military, housing, business, and more. Let's start at the very beginning with your most accessed website and the one you feel viewers should check out first. What is the name of that website again?
Well, the main one is unocracy.org, and it's right there. And it's based upon evote.one, which is only eight constitutional laws where the people now control the decisions. We now control the leaders. And when we treat everyone as a highly paid project manager, our work is done. So it takes the old multi-level marketing Ponzi schemes, where we have the golden rule. He who has the gold makes all the rules. It's the only reason we have 90% poverty. And this other side is designed where the people use a proxy system. So instead of having the representatives and the people underneath, we now have an upside down Christmas tree. It's the most perfect way to unify the world. And as brutal as this may sound, it means we're no longer going to have publicly traded anything. That means that our assets, our work efforts are locked down into our own local community. And when producers sell to other producers, that eliminates this unbelievable supply chain that has all the volatility built in. The more brokers we have and the more distributors, the more transportation, that just raises the price up. And of course, it's all about manipulating the market so that we work harder, pay more taxes, have to buy that insurance. Oh, now we got to go on vacation. We've got to people start taking drugs and gambling and really literally doing stupid things because they're sad. And that goes back to your basic philosophy and psychology. And we've actually shown how to reverse that. We call most psychoses repetitive worry stress disorder. It's the most generic thing of why people constantly loop and keep repeating doing stupid things. And they say, well, if I've been doing it for 5 or 10 years, it must be okay. So this new system is revolutionary, and we learned most of it from a group called National Speakers Association. And I'll pull up my little flyer here. I think I have it behind me. Here it is. It's actually called 5steps.life. So this is the basic 5steps.life of learning how to listen to other people, clear your mind, and then design new ways of thinking so that everyone benefits. And that goes directly into education. Everything we're doing is to re-educate the masses, 8.1 billion people, that there's a way to live in peaceful harmony with each other.
Okay. And going back to the one website that we were saying that everybody point to that has the general idea of what's going on, the main pointer website, can you tell us what the definition of uniocracy is and why that name?
Correct. When we search for the best form of the world, unocracy is defined as the will of the people decide the next project. It doesn't have to be 51% majority. And a great example would be if 30% of your community want to build a civic center, 40% want to build a new state-of-the-art school, that's 100% of that group. So they have a moral responsibility to provide the funding, the resources, and the assets, and the project manager to make their project come true. And if you build it, you now have total authorization control over that project.
All right. And before we close out, we've got to talk about your books. We definitely have to talk about your books. So let's start with the first book, the one with the blue cover. What's the name of this book, and is it available on Amazon?
Absolutely. It's actually got two primary names. It's called godsconstitution.org. We also have the .com. It's also called solutionmanifesto.com. It's only 77 pages long, but it is the ultimate roadmap that was originally designed and created by God to create a peacemaking, problem-solving communities where you don't have crime. And if everyone's busy helping each other and sharing, literally mutually sharing, you're not going to have crime. And if you don't have crime, you don't need police. And we definitely will no longer need military once all the military in the world go back as only National Guard. And I use funny jokes because people understand I'm speaking the truth and only the truth. I call them Commander in Chief rather than Commander, because their focus is to say we have to destroy the enemy before they attack us, before they invade us. And that just makes no sense to me. So this is the whole game plan, and it's really 3 articles, and it replaces every known man-made law. And I often say mad man-made law, because every law has a loophole built in where the money or the assets and the control go to only a very select group of people. So the 3 parts are eVote.1, which is the new decision-making system where everyone is empowered to be a decision maker and to confidently and confidentially, there we go, protect the rights, assets, and lives of all others. The second article is the original 10 commandments. There's actually 11 commandments. And the most basic is do not steal, do not lie, do not hide, and do not recruit others. So if nobody steals, nobody has to lie, and nobody will lie. And that's why it's critically important. Always ask the best questions of the people that you interact with and learn to look people in the eye. The third section is a perfected human God Bill of Rights, and we call it HYBOR. You can look it up in the book. It addresses if someone does violate your rights, you have the immediate obligation and the resources to bring the person to a full accountability. And if people know that they're going to be held accountable, they're not going to do stupid things like fraud, theft, murder, all these really bad things. And sometimes instead of saying corporate, this is the best lead in, instead of saying corporate, I say co-pirate. The original pirates, who were the worst of the worst criminals, was all about rape, pillage, plunder, and murder, because they got rid of their victims. And if they're the only ones left, then they have all the booty in the world. So the reason they call the back of your trunk a booty. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to get the
Okay.
Did you get the booty? You know, we're all for them. So, a
All
little humor
right.
there. So the book is fabulous. It will be the #1 bestseller and buyer because it really talks about the economy. It talks about how we control so that a dollar buying power today will be the same dollar buying power 1,000 years from now. There will be no inflation because no one will have the ability or right to manipulate the pricing. So a gallon of gas will go back down to about $1. You'll have free education around the world called Foreign Exchange Student Program. We're going to have free internet. And one of the basics is our system called Solution Water. We're going to store water in the upper level mountains all over the world. And now we have free hydroelectric power, no more downstream flooding. It's called watershed remanagement. And we're going to build thousands of small nuclear reactors. So that way we're no longer going to build any more power plants that use fossil fuel. And then the second publication is just as critical.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. What's the
called
name of that book?
moneymachine.com. And the short version is called Teen MM. It's designed so that the young people, really anyone, will use technology and they will learn to run a company and never ever fail. And the masters will be the super wealthy executives in the world, particularly the ones that are retired.
Okay.
And so a quick example, my 2 children, Matthew and Kyle Duncan, were earning $500 a day in Peachtree Corners, Georgia, doing yard aeration. So they were punching holes in people's grass with a machine that all you do is you push it left and right. It's automated.
Mm-hmm.
And they were earning $50 per yard times 10 yards in one day was $500. And the funny part was the only issue I had, I said, you owe 15% of everything you earn to pay to Social Security and Medicaid. And they go, what? And they're 15 years old. I said, when will I get that money back? I said, if you survive to be 65, they're going, what, 50 years from now? I might get a little bit of that money back. I said, now you understand the problem with taxes. And the government is a pass-through. All the money that you put into Social Security and Medicaid immediately goes through the government to a senior citizen who spends it within 30 days. So your 15% work effort goes into the back pocket of a corporate executive within 30 days. And that's why they have literally legalized embezzlement. And the worst of the worst happens to be stock options, corporate bonuses, jets, homes, write-offs. It's why the super wealthy, called the elite or the oligarchs and the first families, never pay taxes because they're the ones at the top making all the laws. So the political system is designed to literally, we the people are going to abolish political parties. So our leaders will now be highly skilled, experts, problem solvers, and we're going to treat every leader in the entire world, government and corporate level, as highly paid project managers in cash. And the best one is we have a replacement financial system and banking system where there'll be no fees, no transaction fees. So if Karen and I want to exchange money, let's say I've got $1 million of gold and she's got $1 million worth of chicken, we determine the gold and the chicken. Once we do the exchange and we're both happy, we have zeroed out.
So all of that is in the second book.
It's really combined in both things, but it's designed to educate the public so that every community goes back to the colony system. In the colonies, they had all the natural resources available wherever they were at, and they would create their own industry and sell to themselves and their next door neighbors. So it was critically important that they had great neighbors because they'd use the raw material from one area, they would process it, manufacture it, and eventually sell it. The only value of anything is what you can physically eat. And that was the little thing we were talking about earlier. This happens to be the original fruit from the Garden of Eden. It happens to be a mango, which I thought was pretty funny.
Okay, and we will have links to those 2 books that are available on Amazon in the description part below of this video. So look down for that afterwards. And the main website, again, for everybody to go to find out more about this, learn more about Dr. Nose, is uniocracy.org. Keith, any words in leaving before we leave our viewers?
Well, the last company that we procreated is the Overseers. If you think of the economic pyramid of the world, the whole world is run by the Fortune 1000 executives. So we procreated the ultimate group of very wealthy, very smart, very honest corporate executives. It's designed to be the smartest people in the world, will now be the world leaders at the community level. And that's the best summary we've ever made. So thank you so much, Karen. And make sure everybody click and subscribe and actually hire and use Karen Hansen at the New Roads with an S video.com.
Oh, thank you so much. That's exactly where I was going. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in today. And yes, please like and subscribe and stay tuned. We'll have more solutions coming soon. Make it a great day.